from Lava Lanes in Medford, Oregon. ESPN brings you live coverage of the Denny's PBA Tour. Today, the second half of our season gets started. It's Dave Bryan alongside Randy Peterson. We're joined by 4 finalists, and now they're ready to roll.
He owns 6 Denny's PBA Tour titles and was the 2004 PBA Player of the Year. From Heartland, Michigan, Mika Koivuniemi.
Hei, olen Mika Koivuniemi, asun tällä hetkellä Michiganissa, olen pelannut PBA:ssa muutaman vuoden ja kaikki suomalaiset pitää peukut pystyssä tänään.
After a 1-year absence from the tour, this professional earned his way back through the tough Tour Trials competition. From Columbia, South Carolina, Richie Allen.
Richie Allen, Columbia, South Carolina, aka THB, typical house bowler. I just want to say hi to Sarah, mom and dad, dog Octo, go Cox.
He's a 13-year tour veteran with 5 Denny's PBA Tour titles. From Bel Air, Maryland, Tim Criss.
Tim Criss, the Turtle, from Bel Air, Maryland. Sherry and Amanda, I'm bringing this home for you.
With 3 Denny's PBA Tour titles, today he makes his first TV Finals appearance of the season. From Cincinnati, Ohio, Brian Himmler.
I'm the Chief, Brian Himmler, and I'd like to give a shout out to Maria and Ed Fred and the rest of my family. And I'm going to win today, just like the Bengals. Who dey?
These are your finalists competing for the title in the 2006 Earl Anthony Medford Classic.
Midway between San Francisco and Portland, the southern section of Oregon, 27 miles from the California border, beautiful Medford, Oregon, the hometown of PBA great Marshall Holman. Today again hosting a Denny's PBA Tour event. Randy, let's check out those matchups to start the second half of our season.
You got it, Dave, and you can see what our players had to endure to make the TV show. Mika Koivuniemi taking down Walter Ray Williams Jr. in an epic 7-game battle. Then you have the Allen squared match. Richie Allen having an easy go over Patrick Allen. Tim Criss gets by Mr. Doherty, and Brian Himmler takes out last year's defending champion, Mike Wolf.
First by Mika Koivuniemi. Mika, 3rd show of the year, but no victories yet. What kept you from winning in your first 2 appearances?
First show was really close. It's a couple of breaks went even by Ray, and last show I picked up the wrong ball when I was bowling.
Thanks for your time. Yep. Mika's ready against Richie Allen. Richie, talk about perseverance. First failing to make the exempt tour a couple years ago by just a few spots. Then the tour trials just coming short. The regionals you were just short. Then you make it in tour trials last year. How would you best describe the feeling of now, after all that, returning to TV?
Everybody gets lucky.
That's it?
Man, you know, a lot of hard work, you know, a lot of good family behind me. So, you know, that's mainly the main thing.
Good to see you back.
Thank you.
Ready to go? Shark pattern, 43 feet long today.
Yeah, and it's our longest pattern of the named patterns. And this pattern really only plays one way, and that's the inside part of the lane, because on the 8th board on both sides of the lane, there's a boatload of oil. You get the ball outside that track, and you're lucky if it stays on the lane. So the players are going to play in, they're going to follow the lanes as they break down and just keep migrating towards the center of the lane.
Randy, think about the emotion now for Richie Allen. From Columbia, South Carolina, big Gamecocks fan, USC. He's back on tour, back on TV. And he strikes in his first shot.
You can see what I was talking about. As far as the lane conditions this week, you had to play in, and it certainly didn't hurt any if you had soft ball speed and a lot of hand, a lot of revolutions to get that ball to hook. One of the tightest lane conditions I've bowled on in a long time.
50 events, Randy, since Richie Allen has been on TV. All the way back to his only title, 2002 in Dallas. Now Mika, the big fin, returns to television. Late hook on the ball reaction, end of the long oil pattern Randy just told you about. 10-pin for Mika.
I think it's interesting early on that you see Mika actually circling the lane more than Richie Allen. You know, Mika known for liking to go pretty straight, but he told me a couple days ago, Dave, that he's got more tools now and he feels like he's bowling physically better than when he won Player of the Year honors a couple of seasons ago.
The only bowler ever to win a major as his first 2 PBA Tour titles, leading us to our first Ace Hardware matchup, second half of our season, as we match up Mika and Richie Allen.
Remember that Richie Allen has only made 1 telecast in his career, and of course he's 100%. He won that tournament in Dallas. It's a pretty tight matchup. Average-wise, it's just going to boil down to who gets the best look, the best line to the pocket, and who strikes when their ball hits the 1-3.
Great look from our crew. Late ball reaction from Mika, as we've talked about. He's used to lofting the ball going right at that head pin, but as he said to us several times throughout this season, he had to become a much more versatile bowler to adjust to the changing lane conditions on the PBA Tour.
More tools. It's his message is, I've got more tools now, Randy.
So road to TV, qualifying 22nd through the 2-7 game qualifying blocks. Richie Allen. And a battle of the Allens. He's got the 4-pin there by the defending Player of the Year, Patrick Allen. 5 games in the round of 8 this week. As the PBA Tour returns to lava lanes in Medford.
Probably our best stop on the tour. Rick Donnelly and Randy Cochran and the staff here. You know, when you bowl in a tournament that's sponsored by the city, it's a pretty special place and one of the best venues and tournaments I've ever been a part of. Not to mention the fact that the great Marshall Holman pretty much put Medford on the map.
The Medford Meteor, who won 22 times in his great PBA Tour career, is here. We'll have him as a live guest commentator later on the show today. Looking forward to visiting with Marshall again. Ritchie up again. That's a little high, avoids the 7-10. The 7 goes down late, just a 4-pin up there. A lot less loft on that strike ball.
Well, you know, to me it looks like he's just not giving enough room or playing enough angle to the pocket. He's just going too straight. You know, keep in mind that the pocket is about the 17th, 18th board, and so when you start getting that deep on the lane, you got to give the ball some angle, get the ball right of the head pin. Looks like Richie's lines are just too tight right now.
We'll see if he makes the proper adjustments. He told us yesterday he's really a field bowler when it comes to making changes in game. Unbelievable story of Richie Allen coming through the Tour trials. Finished 10th 2 years ago there when only 9 spots made it. Last year finished 9th when 10 spots made it. As we see Mika's road to TV. Qualified second. An excellent match between 2 superstars. Round of 8 with Walter Ray Williams Jr. 1-7. Big strike for the big fin.
If you look up Koivuniemi in a Finnish dictionary, it says real good. And this guy is, what a talented player. One of the best on the tour. And you can see that this shot here is going to be high flush, perfect. Mika taking the early lead.
Told us yesterday, enjoyed a traditional Finnish family Christmas where Santa comes on Christmas Eve in Finland.
Well, yeah, because he needs time to get from there over to here.
Joulupuki, he's known as. Old Man Christmas is a loose translation. He said Christmas was wonderful with wife Lena, daughters Ida and Lydia. His daughters, by the way, were born in Finland. Now are in elementary school, Heartland, Michigan, not far from Ann Arbor.
And you won't meet a nicer family. They're just incredibly nice people.
No doubt about that. Back to Richie Allen. All 10 down for Richie in his 4th year on tour. Just the 1 win we've told you about. That came against our statistician for the day and final frame champion Tony Reyes in Dallas back in '02.
One of the things Richie Allen's been working on during the break is reducing his ball speed. He said, Randy, you know, I think my ball speed's just too firm. My ball reaction isn't what it needs to be in order for me to beat these guys week in and week out. I need to get softer so my bowling ball will read the lane better.
He's got a brand new checklist his dad gave him in the Christmas holiday break. It goes from A to Z, and the checklist is all about bowling technique. Some very technical, some more just about concentration, mental focus. He's on E now.
You can see on that shot that he did give it a little bit more room, a little more angle of the pocket. It was perfect.
E for exceptional on that shot. Mika. For pin.
It looked like on that shot there, Mika just got a little short with it. And when you get short with it, meaning didn't really quite extend through with his follow through. When you get short with it, the ball tends to hook a little bit sooner.
As Mika told us pre-match interview, Randy said he chose the wrong cover stock. Didn't listen to Rick Benoit, his ball rep in Mechanicsburg when he lost there first half of the season. He said I was just too hard-headed at that point. Sometimes I've got to listen and make the proper adjustments. It's all about being more versatile for Mika.
All about the tools.
Didn't like his look in Pennsylvania, an event won by Patrick Allen. But he said it's been a pretty good season. Made 3 shows in the first 9 opportunities. That's pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what's really neat about this week is, again, a guy that likes to go straight. All he did was hook it all week.
Doing that again, his version of it. 10 pin for Mika. Still everyday contact with a member of the Finnish news agency who calls him or email, text messaging from Europe. Get the latest update on the big bowling star from Finland. Back home, Mika is front page news on a regular basis on the sports magazines and newspapers in Finland. Here he has a 9-pin lead midway through for a semifinal. The Denny's PBA Tour rolls on the Earl Anthony Medford Classic. We'll wrap up this semifinal and talk about the first half of the season. Preview half number 2 when Randy and I return. The Earl Anthony Medford Classic on ESPN is brought to you by Denny's. We're cooking now. By Dexter, where you can play with the pros. Enter to win at dextershoe.com. By bowlersparadise.com, the official online retailer of the Professional Bowlers Association. Log on today and win a free ball. And by Ace, the official hardware store of the PBA. Ace, the helpful place. There's see beautiful Crater Lake. We've had a great week here, and for more information about this incredible area, go to www.visitmedford.org. Crater Lake, about 75 miles from where we are, and there is the Medford Meteor himself, 22-time PBA Tour titleist and Hall of Famer elected back in 1990. Marshall Holman will visit with Marshall coming up later in the show. Welcome back. Second half of the Denny's PBA Tour live coverage here on ESPN continues. Dave Ryan alongside Randy Peterson with our entire crew. Hope you had a good holiday season. I hope you did too, partner.
I did, thanks.
Big headlines, Randy, first half of the year. What were they to you?
Well, I think the biggest one is probably Mike Scroggins, who's leading the tour in just about every offensive category, money, average, points. The injury to Chris Barnes, you know, Chris did make match play this week. And I think, obviously, Walter Ray struggles. You know, where's Walter Ray been? He's been struggling, and he hasn't made a TV show yet this season.
I agree with you. Walter Ray Williams Jr., the quest for number 41, the all-time tour title list, with Earl Anthony trying to tie that. Came close this week, though. Round of 8 lost to Mika Koivuniemi here on Friday. How about Richie Allen? In the show again, on TV again, back on the PBA Tour. Really the definition of perseverance.
It really is. I mean, you really have to tip your cap to Richie Allen and the road that he had to take to get back out on tour. You know, tour trials twice. He then went the regional route. He finished second when you needed to finish first to get an exemption. And you know what? He just persevered and got his exemption back at this past season's tour trials, and here he is again.
Credits family and friends being so close. Ability to overcome the odds. Talk about a long road. Unbelievable what he's had to overcome. He resumes the semifinal match with a perfect strike.
Yeah, this match is all even now.
Shout out to break, baby.
1 pin lead
Shout
for
out to
Richie
break.
Allen.
You know what guys like to do at the break?
I'm sorry, it is a 1-pin lead. Perfect. High flush.
Good shot.
Seventh frame now for Richie. Columbia, South Carolina. He said, I am a big Gamecocks fan, Steve Spurrier and football and all that, but really more my family. I follow along because I'm from there. Light hit on that lane. Last loft on that lane, too.
Yeah, it looked like he just missed it just a hair. What happens now is he goes from a 1-pin lead with a spare here. He'll be down by 1 pin. As you can see, this ball just never grabbed the lane. He knows it. Looking for a little help, doesn't get it.
Picks up a spare there to document the whole road. 0304, first-year exemptions were given out. He finished 53rd. Missed by 4 spots. In 04, the Tour Trials, he finished 10th, 9 bowlers went. Second in the South Region in 05, just behind Randy Weiss to get in to the PBA Tour. And then the Tour Trials this year, he finished 9th when 10 spots were taken. So Richie Allen has overcome the odds to get back. Mika Koivuniemi has all 10 down. We welcome in the governor from the state of Oregon. Ted Ulangowski is here. Governor of the people. He combines his love of bowling with a bit of old-fashioned politics. Won over Oregon, says he likes bowling. Really a place where people can get together and talk. He thinks that we seem to be missing that in our culture today. He campaigned in a 40-foot motorhome, visiting several bowling centers throughout the state. 10 down for Mika.
And you see what happens when you give a great player an opening, they take advantage of it. And that's exactly what Mika just did there. Watch this. This is just a beautiful thing to watch. Break point out around that 9th board. Richie Allen must strike here to put pressure back on Mika.
High shot. 4 pin only.
Come on, run it down.
A little loft here, a little grab, a little too straight. And quite honestly, I think Richie was lucky just to leave the 4 pin on that shot.
Takes care of the 4 there. He told us yesterday the mental game is still his best. He's not really a technical bowler in terms of breaking down his layout. He certainly knows about those things, but he's a field bowler. It's all about the mental game. You'll need a strong mental finish here.
This game's all about the coconut, my friend. When the coconut's working right, you know that everything's good. When all those bad thoughts start creeping in, it's hard to pry it off your hand. Look out.
Crossing over. Well, sometimes you get a little lucky in a Brooklyn strike for Richie Allen.
Well, he needs a little help right now, in my opinion. The best Richie Allen can shoot now is 236. That's if he strikes out in the 10th frame. Mika Koivuniemi can shoot 258, striking out in the 9th and 10th.
Big foundation frame shot for Mika. Brilliant in his first match on TV throughout his career. That's high, and he got a break. Only a 10 pin for Mika.
Bad shot. You can see how early that ball hooked again. If you get short with it at the follow through, ball's going to dig in early, and that's exactly what this ball did. This ball never pushes to the right. See how quick it starts to hook and how sharp on the back end. Now with a spare here, and 3 strikes in the 10th frame, Mika will shut out Richie Allen.
Takes care of this mark. Mika, as we mentioned a moment ago, has been brilliant in his first match on TV. Lifetime, Randy, 15-3 in that first match. As he needs 3 strikes to shut out and end the day for Richie Allen here. Time on TV, 24-12. He's tied for 3rd. All-time leader Tommy Jones in TV win percentage at 800. Dick Weber Open. It's all coming next week on ESPN, 1 o'clock Eastern time. It is old school time. We've got 5 men in a 4-match step ladder format as we honor the late great Dick Weber, Fountain Valley, California. As ESPN's live coverage of the Denny's PBA Tour continues Sunday at 1 Eastern. That should be great to watch. Step ladder.
Won my first tournament, qualifying 5th, running the whole ladder to capture title number 1, Union City, California. Look at him up.
Oh, late hit on number 10. Almost 1 second. We thought we had the 7-10, and then he has them all down.
Check this out. Almost a blowout 7-10. The headpin's going to go to the sidewall and do some business. Takes the 7 and the 10 out. Mika still alive. 2 more strikes. He wins.
That was, oh yeah, and finish.
And then
he was pleased. Needs 2 to end it. First time ever on TV head-to-head with Richie Allen. Here's one.
Wow. Can this guy bowl or what? Make no mistake about it, Mika Koivuniemi is the real deal, and he's 1 strike away from bowling for the title in the 2006 Earl Anthony Medford Classic.
He's had a fine season, 5th in the tour rankings coming into this show today, 10th in money, 6th in average, and he's made 3 shows. Only 1 bowler has won 2 titles this year. Tommy Jones. Mika goes for his first title today of this season.
How's that?
Lights out. What a finish by Major Mika.
Hey, you want to be a star out here, you want to be a champion out here, try getting up in the 10th frame and throwing 3 strikes to win by 1. Not too many have done it. This guy just did.
In his career, he is now 16-3 in his first match on TV. 1 pin left up here for Richie. This match is over. It's been wrapped up by Mika Koivuniemi, but still, Richie Allen will remember Medford, Oregon.
Thank you.
Finally.
Great week for Ritchie Allen. A lot for him to build on. Great for his confidence, obviously. He's got great family behind him now. He says his work ethic's changed. He's just a different guy now. He said it was the best holiday that he just experienced over the break that he's ever had in his life.
Spent a lot of time with his girlfriend Sarah, who's from Columbia, a bowler herself. They met at the bowling center.
Good job, Mom.
He said hello to her.
Big fin is GHP in the appetizer.
What? We'll translate what Mika said in a moment. It's about the first match, and he beat the house bowler, self-proclaimed Richie Allen. So Mika through the final. More from Medford next. Welcome back, everyone. Earl Anthony, Medford Classic, ESPN's live coverage of the Denny's PBA Tour continuing. Mika Koivuniemi is thrown ready to the final. Special thanks to Rick and Xenia Donnelly, the proprietors here at Lava Lanes in Medford. The players always tell us one of their favorite stops every year, thanks to Rick and Xenia and their tremendous staff. Great to see them again. Well, Earl Anthony, #1 all-time. Walter Ray Williams Jr. with his 40 titles. Had a chance. He got to the round of 8 before losing to Mika Koivuniemi, who's in today's final, so this quest continues. There's Marshall Holman, #10. We'll speak with Marshall and visit with him in a couple of moments here in Medford.
As a bowler, obviously Earl was one of the greatest bowlers of all time, if not the greatest. When you watch the way that he played the lanes and how he can nip and tuck and work his way through the field and make it to match play, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere he could be runaway leader of the tournament, there's a lot to be said for that, especially when he was the only one on that side of the lane.
Earl was the first left-hander to kind of break through and get respect from righties and lefties no matter what, because he won so many tournaments where no other left-handers were competitive.
He was able to do things on the left-hand side of the lane when the other left-handers would struggle. In fact, when the left side played easier, that usually didn't help Earl out. He made the left side work when the rest of the guys couldn't, and that was one of the reasons why he was able to win so many tournaments.
Earl was the consummate competitor. He would go out and he just beat you. He beat you, and he didn't beat you with his mouth or with his gyrations or the way he ran a shot out, intimidation, none of that. He beat you with his score, and he beat everybody with his score. And so just watching him perform was something of a treat for me.
He was a nice gentleman. He was fiercely competitive, and you know, he was another person that we all looked up to.
And great to see Susie and Mike Anthony, Earl's widow and son, here again in Medford, as they have been in years past. Still a very emotional time for her. 2 years ago, can it really be that long? The Medford Open here at Lava Lanes, Medford, Oregon. It was Pete Weber in a classic duel with Tommy DeLuce Jr. Pete had the front eight.
You can see the intensity of the Hall of Famer right there. Pete's signature fist clutch.
And was he ever excited to win that day? Yes, he was. Next week, we honor Pete's late father, Dick Weber. The Dick Weber Open, Fountain Valley, California. Different format, Randy.
Yeah, we're going old school. Round robin match play and a 5-man step ladder TV finals.
Sunday, 1 o'clock Eastern time in Fountain Valley, Southern California, where Pete won a U.S. Open a couple of years ago. Looking forward to that. Coming up next week here on ESPN's live coverage of the Denny's PBA Tour, we honor the late, great Dick Weber. Fitting after today's honoring of Earl Anthony. Coming up next, the Turtle, Tim Criss, head-to-head with the Chief, Brian Himmler. Who takes the title? Who wins this next match? We'll find out. It's all coming your way from Medford. Welcome back. Live coverage, everyone, of the Denny's PBA Tour Earl Anthony Medford Classic. Mika Koivuniemi with a 237-215 win over Richie Allen into the final. Looking for his 7th title and his first since March 6th of 2005. Tim Criss, Brian Himmler, second semi. Both of those competitors joined now by Randy.
Thanks, Dave. And Turtle, let's start with you. It's been 3 years since your last show. What's been the difference for you this week?
It's been that long? Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, just been working on my game, and things just worked out this week. We've been throwing the ball a little bit better and getting a little bit more confidence again, and hopefully I can carry it on to the show.
Good luck, Turtle. Brian, you've looked invincible all week long. Why is it that your confidence is at an all-time high now?
Well, as in the final 8, threw the ball as best I have all year, and man, I just hope I can throw it that good today, and I think I'll win.
Well, if you do, yeah, absolutely you'll win. Thanks, Brian. Good luck. Turtle versus Chief, Dave.
Great nicknames. We'll define those in a moment. First, the March to the Denny's World Championship, which comes up this year. From Indianapolis, we switch venues. Mika Koivuniemi 5th in the points list right now. Mike Scroggins, what a great first half we had. Leader in points, leader in money, leader in average. Could be the player of the year. Who knows? Has the one title, won at the Masters in Milwaukee. Well, it's been a long time since we've seen this guy on TV. 2004 in Chicago, where he won the second of 2 Chicagoland titles. Vernon Hills, Illinois. The Chief returns. And he's in the pocket. All 10 down to the pit for Brian Himmler. They call him the Chief because, dating back to his childhood, he was always leading the group, telling everyone where to go, organizing things. And now it's the Turtle, who's a big Maryland Terrapin fan. That and his rather slow ball speed. The reason for the Turtle nickname. Long time since he's been on TV. 123 events without a win. And 52 events without a show. Well, someone next to us now knows a lot about making TV and winning 22 times the PBA Tour titles. Marshall Holman, thanks for joining us. Good to see you again.
Dave, it's a pleasure to be here. Randy, always great to see you.
Marshall, great to see you.
Thank you.
I got to show this, though.
Meteor is joining us. A picture from what year, Marshall?
That's the 1971 Medford bowling program, and yeah, that was a lot of hair ago. You got to love the headband.
I like the headband. That's the best part of it. Very retro.
It was the 70s, man. It was the 70s.
That's good stuff, Marsh. Wow.
All right, lose the picture.
Quickly. Marshall, what do you think is going through Tim Criss's mind? Been so long since he's been on TV.
Well, it looked like his first shot. He hung on to it a little long, like almost afraid to let it go. It's it's very difficult when you haven't been in this atmosphere for as long as Tim, and he needs to regroup himself right now. He just let the baby split, and Himmler threw a great opening shot, so Himmler's got the momentum right now.
It's pretty deep, too, Marshall, with only one game being bowled on television. That ball just never got to the right of the head pin. Almost looked like it started a bit too early.
Yeah, it did face up early. I had the opportunity to bowl this week with the commissioner's exemption, and I'd like to thank Fred Schreier for giving me that shot again. A great conversion by the Turtle. He picks up the 310. And I'll tell you, the lanes were very, very difficult this week.
Ace matchup. Brian Himmler, the Turtle, Tim Criss. It's been a long time for Tim. Brian Himmler, of course, probably being best known for winning each and every year in Chicago, with the exception of this year.
Has 3 career PBA Tour titles. Defended his championship back in '04 in Chicago. With that ball speed, he can bring it.
Marshall, because of the ball speed, he's able to get the ball right of the head pin and keep it on line, whereas Turtle, being real soft, he's got a little bit of trouble keeping it up.
Yeah, and Himmler's ball arcs down the lane so much more smoothly than does Tim Criss. Tim Criss is jumping and jumping early.
Higher rev rate, more ball speed. He's able to keep it more on line.
Absolutely.
Well, Marshall, we just saw a moment ago in that graphic, 41st with your commissioner's exemption to finish. How'd you feel you bowled this week?
I bowled great the first 7 games, and then I had trouble the next. But boy, Himmler's not having any problems. It was tough. It was very tough, and my years as a touring player, they're definitely behind me. And in just 14 games, my hand was sore, my brains were sore, and it was fun. But you guys are going to LA next week, and I'll stay here in Medford.
A lot of focus required, isn't it?
You know, Marshall, though, you were one of my idols as I was growing up, and I was fortunate enough to be able to compete not only with you but against you, and you were one of the best the game has ever seen. And you had a storybook career, a great career, and you were one of my favorites to watch on television.
Well, Randy, I appreciate that. I had a lot of fun. I met you when you were just early 20s. You came out on tour and watched you, but you're out here. You're doing a great job, both you and Dave in the booth now, and it makes pro bowling fun.
Thanks. And I just want to tell this real quick story. I'm bowling against Marshall Holman, Las Vegas, match play, the first time ever. Marshall leaves a pocket 7-10, first frame. And then he gets up and makes it in front of about 1,000 people at Showboat and turns around and screams at me. And I was frozen. I was stuck in my seat. I couldn't get out of my seat. Do you remember that?
I remember.
7-10 and made it.
Yeah. Tim Criss just threw a couple strikes in a row, so he's made the proper adjustment. Maybe moved it a little bit deeper, a little more speed.
A little more angle.
A big adjustment, too, in Tim's game we talked about. 5-step to the 4-step approach. We'll break that down as we see Brian Himmler's road to TV. 28th he qualified, a 210 average. Get this far.
Oh, that's just shrapnel.
Flying everywhere, isn't it?
Making those pins look like they have no business even standing in the first place.
Chief loves playing on this pattern, too, because he can get in, and he doesn't have to throw that big rainbow. He can just kind of let the oil push the ball to the right, and because he has so much hand and so many revolutions, when that ball hits the 1-3, they've got no chance.
26 event drought for him, though, in terms of winning. Even being on TV. Looks fantastic so far. Front 4 with the Chief. Big Bengals fan. Hooray.
Wow.
They're all down.
Very impressive. I'll tell you, he's so confident. You alluded to that in the interview. And there's so much that can be done with that confidence when you're out on the lanes. If you're feeling it, it's going to happen.
Isn't it all about confidence, though, Marshall?
For any player, absolutely. And it's about confidence, whether you're throwing bowling balls or you're in the business world. No matter what you do, if you feel you can get something accomplished, you can do it.
I agree.
Tim Criss coming to us from 25 miles north of Baltimore. Look at the ball speed, much different than Brian Himmler. But nice reaction on the backside of the oil pattern. We're at 43 feet on the shark pattern this week. And he's found his range, guys.
You can see he's playing from about the 25 board, throwing it out to about 14, hooking it back into the pocket, and he's made the proper adjustments. I'm not sure. I think he may have made a ball change. I'm not sure. I'm just a guest commentator. But, boy, it sure looks good.
Well, there's so many out there, it's hard to tell. But it looks like, at least on the right lane, that ball was a little bit cleaner and actually pushed easier to the right, didn't it?
Yeah.
Same ball. This ball's absolutely pushing much better to the right.
And has a four-bagger after a tough start. Semifinal number 2 for the honor to take on Mika Koivuniemi for a championship. It looks like the big Bengals fan, Brian Himmler, is focused. So is the Turtle, Tim Criss. More to come. The Earl Anthony Medford Classic on ESPN is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Visit geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. By Pepsi, the official soft drink of bowling. And by Motel 6, the official lodging partner of the PBA. For the lowest price of any national chain, go to motel6.com. With a front 5, Brian Himmler has a 12-pin lead. Chance for a 22-pin advantage on Tim Criss' second semifinal. Mika Koivuniemi beat Richie Allen in the first. And Mika is in the final today from Medford. Randy, let's check out this week's Dexter approach having to do with Tim Criss.
Tim Criss has made a big adjustment. He's gone from 5 steps to a 4-step approach. Notice how much different his posture is now. He's much more upright. That's going to lead to better leverage when he gets to the bottom of the swing. So you can see his body position here. He's a little crouched. And watch his body position here, a little more upright. So what happens is when he gets to the bottom of the swing, he's in a much better leverage position. And he tells me, Marshall, he's able now to repeat shots much easier. He got this tip from John Jowdy, your old coach.
My old coach. I'll tell you what, in today's game, you've got to be reinventing yourself all the time. If it's not working, you better try something different, or else the guys will just run you over.
I agree.
It is the Motel 6 6th frame. Brian Himmler has thrown the front 5 with a strike in the 6th. He earned $600 from Motel 6, the official lodging partner of the PBA, which he did. He's also eligible for a $6,000 bonus if he throws the front 6 more than any other bowler on TV this season. Congrats to Brian Himmler.
Randy, didn't that shot look like it was a little bit tight with his line, but the ball pushed down the lane well? Held pocket.
Yeah.
He's got some room out there. That's always nice.
That's why he's on television today, right? And he's got the front 6.
Yeah. He's halfway home, guys. 1:30 local time. His beloved Bengals take on Pittsburgh, each for 11-5 this year. It's the rubber match in that NFL playoff game.
I had 4 in a row once this week.
I never did.
I never had.
Looked like you missed that a little bit, didn't it?
Could be. I mean, could that possibly be, you know, he pulls the last shot. He wants to make sure it doesn't happen again. That one he didn't get the fingers in it.
This ball just never reaches the back part of the lane. It barely hooks down lane.
Yeah, but lucky just to leave it 2.
Exactly. That real aggressive bowling ball he's throwing too. That paradigm is pretty strong. It's pretty good stuff. But you know, on the slick lane conditions that we bowled on this week, if you get a little fast, it's not going to hook.
Yeah, it's gone.
We heard the music, now let's talk about it. The ESPN Mercedes Championships coming up. BJ Singh, of course, is in the running. But Stuart Appleby, the 2-time defending champ, looks for another title out at Kapalua.
They talk about tough conditions. It's windy at Kapalua right now. Those scores are usually very low at that golf course, but pros are having problems.
2-stroke lead on Michael Campbell entering today's final round.
Yeah. You know what? I don't care how windy it is. I wouldn't mind being in Hawaii right now.
Wouldn't be
if
bad.
I couldn't be in Medford, I'd like to be in Hawaii.
There you go. Good. Yeah.
There
Good
you go.
save.
Exactly. Nice save, Randy.
Appleby shot a 3 under par 70 yesterday. Campbell 71. See what happens today. Back to the Turtle, Tim Criss. 10-pin.
Well, that's too bad, too, because a couple of strikes in the 7th and 8th, Marshall, and it's a 1-pin match.
Now, Tim did everything he could with this shot. Looked like he had the good leverage. His speed was right. Ball just, you know, sometimes you make a great shot, and the 6 goes around the 10.
Well,
That's what happened.
You can see just by that expression there that he knew how important that was to get back in the match.
Oh, yeah.
Has his mark in his 7th frame. He told us last night the gap of time. It's been so long since he's been on TV. A little bit concerned as we see other finishers bottom of your screen about the nerves with Tim Criss. We saw Walter Ray Williams Jr. just out of the TV show by a 1-match round of 8. Our statistician Tony Reyes there. Chris Collins, who made the final in Albany. Oregon native Blaze Bedoya, among others. And Chris Barnes, you saw number 17. Chris strikes. Chris Barnes is back from injury with a back problem.
Yeah, Chris looked good. I watched him bowl and says his back isn't hurting him at all. You know, right now Tim is thinking, boy, I threw that shot in the right lane so perfect. Should have, it could have, but it didn't.
He got that one.
Whoa. Little late help, but he'll take it. As the lead expands.
Watch this bucket collapse. Bing, bang, ching, clang, clang. Gone.
It's dominoes.
They're all down, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah, he knows he got away with one there.
Yeah. So what's the move now, Marsh? I mean, he's got light. Certainly don't want to pinch one off and go big 4.
God, I don't know. You know, if it was me, I'd slow the speed down a little bit, but the lanes are so speed sensitive with these balls that you know, he could go through the face and leave the big 5. I really don't know what move he should make. That's your job, Randy.
See what he does. 9th frame, chance to go up by 32. Cross the deck, the scout won't get number 10 to fall.
Marshall, you notice how early on in the match his ball was tipping a little bit harder down the lane. In the back part of the lane, his ball was tipping. His last 3 shots, his ball has barely turned over.
You think the oil is pushing down further and it's making his ball go extra couple feet before it makes that turn into the pocket? Or you think it's his hand?
I think the last couple shots look like he caught it pretty well. It looks to me like he's moved in a little bit, and he's gotten into some sauce, and the ball's just not coming off of it.
Well, he's giving Tim Criss a chance to come back.
All about adjustments as the lanes break down under the TV lights here. It's the 2nd semifinal, so things have changed from their initial warm-up time.
Yeah, Criss can shoot 257. Right now, Himmler, if he strikes bears out, shoots 249. So huge shot for Tim Criss.
Yeah. I think in order to have any chance to win this match, he has to strike on this ball.
Which he does.
That's right.
And his first TV appearance is January 23rd of 03, nearly 3 years to the day.
Marshall, this sets up the 10th frame for Tim Criss. Like you said, 3 more strikes, he shoots 257, which would force Brian Himmler to double and get 9 to win by 1. And let's take a look at Brian Himmler's last 3 frames. They're pretty shaky.
Yeah, I think if Criss can figure out a way to finish this game out and strike out, I really think that he'll go on to bowl against Mika.
It's been a long time since he's won.
Wow. Ooh, almost a solid 9.
One more.
That was so close.
Did he look like he got that one up the lane just a little bit?
Watch the way this ball goes through the pocket. I guarantee this ball does not touch the 9-pin. It goes past it. Everything's gone now.
2 more just like that, and there's going to be a whole lot of pressure on Brian Himmler.
You got to really hand it to Tim. He's he started out a little shaky, but he made the right adjustment. He's handled the pressure. Nothing Himmler can do right now but watch.
That had to really hurry and did not crank back enough into the pocket.
Boy, not only doesn't he strike, but he loses all sorts of count.
Right now, Brian Himmler just needs a mark and good count to win. You can see this ball, Marshall just never made it back out of the pocket, losing 2-8-10, and like you said, lost that all-important count.
Yeah, he's going to shoot 243 with getting 9, 242. Pretty much any kind of mark right now for Himmler, and he's going to be making it to the finals.
Wow, devastating final effort there from Tim Criss, who came so close with a turkey before that late miss in the open.
I know when I get in a situation like this, sometimes I get excited. I throw the ball too hard. I throw it past the pocket, so we'll see how Himmler handles it.
Just a mark, that's all the Chief needs. That'll do it.
That's the best kind of mark you can get, eh, Randy?
Wow. Again, Marshall real late in the back end. And
yeah.
I mean, that could, you know, if that ball pushes another 3 or 4 inches down the lane, he could have left it 2-8-10, but gets just enough of it. And you're right, that's the best kind of mark.
He didn't want to shoot the 7-pin.
No.
Because anything can happen.
Right, exactly.
His wife Julie, stepdaughters Ashley and Cameron, and a brand new little baby girl. Kylie, only 5 months old. She won't remember this day, but she'll watch the tape years from now. That's Dad on TV.
That's right.
The first time after I was born, he made a TV show. And now he's off to the final to take on Mika Koivuniemi in a battle of powerful right-handers.
Marshall, prediction. 2 nights ago, Brian Himmler told me nobody's going to beat him. What do you think?
Well, I've liked Mika all week. I crossed with him in the qualifying. He impressed me so much. You know, Himmler could beat him, but if I had to make a bet, and I'm not, I'd take the Finn.
Okay. Marshall Holman, so great to see you again, sir.
Dave, thank you. It's always a pleasure. Look forward to seeing you guys back here again next year.
All the best in 2006.
Thanks, Marshall.
Legend
Thanks,
Marshall
Randy.
Holman, guest commentator today here in Medford. Mika Koivuniemi will take on the Chief Brian Himmler for the PBA Tour title. But first, we've got some skills to show you. Danny Wiseman and Tony Reyes, ramp it up. Yeah! This is going to be fun to watch. Just some great shots coming your way. Skill challenge next. Welcome back, everyone. Earl Anthony Medford Classic live coverage of the Denny's PBA Tour continues here on ESPN. Mika Koivuniemi goes for his 7th career tour title. Brian Himmler his 4th. That is the final after 2 impressive semifinal wins for those 2 bowlers. PGA Golf coming your way. Stuart Appleby at Kapalua Mercedes Championship leads by 2 strokes, 7 o'clock Eastern time, 4 here on the West Coast. Stuart says it doesn't matter about his 2 titles, even though he birdied 3 of the last 6 holes, because Michael Campbell's is 2 strokes behind him, who shot a 71 yesterday. Campbell says, hey, he's tough right now, but I believe I have the tools to beat him. We'll see, 7 o'clock Eastern time. He's got that 2-stroke lead. After Appleby yesterday shot a 370 par, is he the king of Kapalua? That is the question. Let's check out this week's Skills Challenge. We are ready for the PBA Skills Challenge. Round of 16 match, Danny Wiseman, Tony Reyes. And Wiseman has the first shot.
Yeah, jump over the balls.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's got to go over it. Ball's going to go over the balls. I've done this one time in Strutt. One time out of, I don't know, probably 20 or 30 attempts. Whew, okay. That ball behind that, from the front of that ramp, is about 10 feet. So you guys can see it down there.
Challenging shot, to say the least. And the trademark Wiseman flame is on the ramp. Can he do it? He's over. And a 7 count. Good effort, Danny Wiseman.
Man, that was close. They hit the balls, though.
Danny doing his best Evel Knievel act here with the bowling ball. Tony needs 8 or better to win.
One ball's in.
Tony on Christmas Day saw it on ESPN with a Final Frame special show. Earned his exemption. I like the slow motion replay on the ramp shot. He's over.
Oh,
he's got it all.
Yeah! That was sweet. Woo! Need to get a little bit more in on there.
He did it beautifully.
We'll do the 1-step. This is one of my ones I always teach at back home, all the kids and everything. It's basically like you know, you go up there, you get to the position right before you strike, and you go up and throw a shot. So it's also a good learning technique for all you kids out there to try. You can work on a lot of different things, so. And you got to strike, so. I think you remember Chris last year making fun of me bouncing up and down.
He's got all 10 down.
Wow. Remember that lesson, kids.
Good teaching from Coach Reyes, and Chris Barnes may have made fun of him last year, but hey, now Wiseman's got a match. He's down 1 strike to none. 3 strikes will win this round of 16 matchup. Not close.
That was really good.
50% on that shot.
An old washout, and Tony's got a 2 strikes to none lead.
What's with the ramp jumping stuff?
Go here?
What?
Ramp it over the
Ramp it over the chairs and good luck where it ends up. Yeah.
Over the chair.
Over the chairs.
Danny's going with the height
Tommy
theory
goes
today.
Over it this way. Parker goes under him.
So you're going over.
I'm
using that ramp.
Absolutely.
Oh. Okay then.
I got you. All right, here we go.
Last time it worked out pretty well for Reyes on the ramp shot. Over the chairs. Crosses over the head pin. And he's got 8.
All right.
And don't try this at home. This is every proprietor's nightmare. Watch how high this ball gets. Bang!
That wasn't bad.
I can see it now. All the kids in America putting chairs down the lane.
I think you got to be very careful if you are down lane cameraman Noel here. You are in harm's way. Watch
Incoming!
It.
Oh.
Incoming!
That's lucky there.
Missed him. Tony realized that could have been an expensive camera to repair. Would have lost all his final frame money just like that. Thankfully, Noel's okay. And we move on. 2 strikes to 1 Reyes. The carom shot. Off that ball in front of the pins. High count, takes it. 7.
Wow. All right, fans, this is a situation if Tony Reyes gets 8 or
8.
better.
8 or better, and he wins this matchup. The PBA Skills Challenge. Can he do it with a carom shot? No. Strike for Wiseman, 2-2.
That shot is actually a lot harder than it looks.
Tied up 2-2.
You don't catch that ball right there. If you don't catch it square, you see what happens.
I'm gonna go towards you guys and go throw the ball underneath my legs and spin it. So try to hit the 10 pin only. Tippy toes.
Jesus, I'm at a disadvantage here. It's no fair.
No one said the Skills Challenge was fair, Danny. Hey, it's all about tough shots.
Absolutely.
Come on.
Got a hook.
Come on.
It
Let's
does.
end this right now. Let's end this right now. Yeah, right on.
What a shot by Reyes.
Hey, Danny, look at the bright side. At least he didn't try any left-handed shots.
They're killing me, Reyes.
You know it.
Danny trying to overcome the broken hand. Got the big cast there.
On. Where's that pin at? There it is.
Cast or not, this is a difficult shot. Stay alive.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Just misses. Had some good hook on it, though. Impressed. And Tony wins it. 3 strikes to 2. In exciting fashion, Tony Reyes advances in the Denny's PBA Tour Skills Challenge to the round of 8s. There's our statistician, Tony Reyes from San Jose. He's exempt. That's not Marshall Holm, it's Tony. After winning the final frame event, $10,000 plus his exemption on our special Christmas show. Speaking of ESPN bowling shows, coming up, Dick Weber Open on the road with you. We're in Fountain Valley, 45-foot strips of oil pattern. It's a throwback similar to what was used in the early 90s. Stepladder, 5-man, 4-match format to honor Dick Weber and a tribute to his era. That's all coming up, plus Pro-Ams on January 10th and 14th at Fountain Valley. Log on to PBA.com for tickets. Also, the Motel 6 Phoenix Classic. We're back to the Valley of the Sun, Phoenix, Arizona, Christown Lanes. The Pro-Ams on the 18th and 21st. Log on to PBA.com for all the information you'll need on tickets to those great events. Speaking of great finishes, we've got one coming up for you here from Medford, Oregon. Mika Koivuniemi, Brian Himmler. Who takes home the title? $40,000 and an exemption for next season. We'll find out next. See the bowlers wearing that pin by the collar, honoring the late great Earl Anthony, bowler of the century, no question about that. Bowler of the day, maybe it's Brian Himmler or Mika Koivuniemi. They're in the final. That leads us to the Geico Championship recap. Randy?
Okay, Dave. In semifinal number 1, Richie Allen taking on Mika Koivuniemi. Richie struggling late. Mika throwing 3 strikes in the 10th frame to seal the deal. He wins 237-215. And in semifinal number 2, Tim Criss paternal taking on Brian Himmler. Tim leaves a late 2-8-10. Brian Himmler just needs a mark. And like Marshall Holman said, a strike is your best kind of mark.
I'm not sure what he's more nervous about. The Bengals today, his beloved NFL team, or competing on TV here as we look at Randy's keys. First for Mika.
Mika just being Mika. Just do what Mika does best. For Brian Himmler, I think it's all about ball speed. I think both players are going to be playing similar lines. And when that happens, lane conditions are going to change. The person that makes or anticipates the first move wins.
High flush strike from Brian Himmler. So much on the line today. Big prize money we talked about, $40,000, and the exemption. Speaking of big money, the PBA Tour announcing yesterday, Jackson Hewitt Tax Service $1 million challenge. If the same bowler can win the final 3 majors of this season, that player will earn a $1 million bonus. U.S. Open, Denny's World Championships, and the Dexter Tournament of Champions all coming up. All 10 down for Mika, who can think about it as well. Leading us to our Ace Hardware matchup.
Remember, Mika Koivuniemi was the second highest average this week through qualifying, and you can see a big difference right here. That's 14 pins a game. But keep in mind, Brian Himmler did shoot 250 in his first match.
What's the buzz going to be about that Jackson Hewitt Tax Service $1 million bonus? $1 million for 3 majors.
If I win it, I'll split it with you.
Would you please? Boy, I appreciate that. We'll keep you updated as the season progresses. Crossing over there on a high shot gives us a chance, Randy, for some of your reflections, thoughts on the late great Earl Anthony.
Well, I think, you know, my fondest memory of Earl, forget about the fact that he was a complete gentleman, a great bowler, blah, blah, blah. You know, when you watched Earl Anthony bowl, he had the most intense eyes. He didn't hoop it up. He didn't run it out. He didn't scream and yell. But you know what? He wanted to rip your heart out every time he bowled you and show it to you. He was the most intense competitor, I think, that I have ever seen.
Very difficult open here early for Mika, second frame. And the Chief Brian Himmler looks for the double to begin things. On the 7.
Boy, that hit right there has been his friend all day. It's this light hit I'm talking about, the swish zone. That's found a home for Brian Himmler here in Medford.
Told us last night he's going to keep his eye on the target, the pocket that is, and not the prize, which is an exemption, which is the trophy and the $40,000. Likes how focused he is on TV. It's been a while since '04. Hard to argue so far. He's been outstanding. And he's got a turkey.
Holding. Yeah, well, he got that ball in and he wanted it to hold, and it did. And that's a big bonus. This ball's going to be a little bit left, and when you can miss left and have the ball kind of stay right there and go high flush, that's always a real good thing to happen. As long as the Bengals don't get that called on them today.
That's 10 yards from the spot of the foul. And what a great start for Brian Himmler, up 32 off the open frame. Third now for Mika, who's got a 10 down. Interesting Christmas celebration. The Koivuniemi family came off, as he told you about. Father Christmas comes on Christmas Eve in Finland, as we see the lane comparison.
And that left lane is about 4 boards drier than the right lane, and Mika paid for it in the last frame, or the last time he was on that left lane. Let's see what kind of adjustment he makes.
That's a really high shot.
Yeah,
way off the mark for him.
And the reason why, Dave, is because his ball speed was just way too soft on that shot. And this is what happened on this pattern. You know, when you threw one shot that went high and you made an adjustment off of it, and your adjustment was always moving to the left, because the lanes were so slick, you were afraid that once you made that move deeper and you threw it a little bit further to the right, the ball wasn't going to hook back. So the tendency was to get soft.
Takes care of the mark. Stays perfect on multi-pin spare conversions. Still, he's in a 32-pin hole to Brian Himmler, who has a turkey to begin things. Goes for the front 4 when we come back. The pride of Cincinnati going for a win in Oregon on ESPN. This is the 34th PBA event in the state of Oregon, 5th in Medford here at Lava Lanes. Earl Anthony, the late great Earl we pay tribute to today, did win an event in this state, 1972 Portland Open at Valley Lanes. And look at the great start from Brian Himmler. Looks for the front four. Going to go up 42 pins.
Hook a little.
It hooked a little, not quite enough to get to the 1-3 pocket. And a 7-pin for the Chief.
Yeah, and that's been his bread and butter, especially on that right lane, that light hit. This time, he doesn't get the fortune, or the good fortune, of tripping the 7 out late.
Has his mark. Brian wanted to say a special hello to a friend of the family, young Maria, who is 7 years old in a Cincinnati area hospital, just diagnosed with diabetes, but is on the road to recovery. We wish her the very best. Break down these lanes, Randy.
Well, again, you know, we talked about how that light hit is really been his bread and butter on the right lane. That was his first spare on that right lane. I think he's locked in on both lanes.
He's looked so confident from the very first ball of the day. Wins shots like that.
Again, that light hit, Dave Ryan, paying off. You can see that the two different reactions. Brian Himmler, much straighter through the front part of the lane with very slight back end. Mika Koivuniemi, more of a rainbow type ball reaction, more back end.
No wins on tour since March of '05. Indianapolis last season. That's a better look for Mika. And Randy, really surprises me because of the way Mika finished up that first game, his first semifinal with Richie Allen in such confident fashion. Didn't seem to be the same guy in this game.
Well, but the difference in this match is just what he's done on this left lane. I mean, he hasn't hit the pocket yet. Both shots have been light. And right now, Mika's battling his own demons, trying to figure out what adjustment to make and then pulling the trigger.
Can cut the lead to 21 pins here. The double, 6th frame. Does just that.
And that time he trusted it to the right, and the speed was soft enough for the ball to turn the corner. Watch this. He's going to get this one further out. Hits that dark piece of board down there at about 50 feet that represents the second arrow or the 10th board. And since his speed was soft enough and he has rotation, that ball's going to come off of that spot and hit the pocket.
Himmler looks for the double.
Look out.
Will not get it.
And it's amazing how this game flip-flops. Brian Himmler's home was on that right lane, and all of a sudden now he's missed striking the last two shots, and this time leaves himself with a 2-10 split. Isn't it amazing? This happens right after his opponent throws his first double.
Things can change dramatically right here. Just 3 of 18 this week on splits. Won't get it. Just takes out the 2-pin. The 10 stands, and an open frame at this stage of the match could be curtains for Brian Himmler. We'll see if Mika Koivuniemi can knock down the door. It is open a crack for him, to be sure. Both of these bowlers, as we've experienced in covering the tour over the years, love the heat of the moment, love the competition, love to be aggressive and take charge.
How could you not love bowling on television, man? That's the best place to be if you're a bowler, professional, or a fan.
But high, and a 7-pin almost had the 7-10.
And see, he got a little soft there.
Yeah.
And see what happens with Brian when his speed gets a little soft. That ball's really going to backhand hard. And you can see this shot right here. Watch how it's going to go left. Nice break, only leaving the 7-pin. And he knows it.
Could have been a lot worse. There he's got his 7, so he gets the mark. However, Mika working on a couple strikes here, looks for the turkey, 7th frame. he can actually take the lead.
Yeah, he could really put a hurt on Brian Himmler with 2 strikes here in the 7th and 8th frame. See their max scores. Brian Himmler now can only shoot 237. Mika can shoot 248.
Oh, help on the 9.
Well, it trips that 4. That 4 was heading over into the 9 pin. Watch this. Mika's going to go a little bit high here. Real good hand. You see the hand rotate around. The 4 is going into the 9, and that pin right there just stopped that 4 from coming over and getting it and turning that into a 3-bagger. Right there.
Has his spare. The bowler moved from Finland in the mid-90s for about 4 years, then went back to Finland. He and his wife, Lena, and their daughters, Ida and Lydia, born in Europe. So they are Finnish citizens. Eighth frame for the big Finn. Crossing over. Almost a Brooklyn strike instead of 6-10. What's happening with the ball reaction?
It's all about the adjustment, Dave. It's all about ball speed, too. Right now, I think what Mika needs to do is move a little bit right and get firm. You can see that this ball is he's playing way in, and the ball's just not pushing to the right. And that's telling me that that zone is done. It's finished. The guys have burned it up. The oil's not there. It's tough to get the ball to push right. But here's the thing. Brian Himmler has to finish on his tough lane, the right lane, and Mika Koivuniemi gets to finish on the left lane. So it's all going to come down to who makes the right adjustments.
Mika this year's lost in Denver to Wes Malott in the finals. Lost to Patrick Allen, semifinals, Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. PA that day beat Tom Baker to win a title. Who wins today here in Medford?
Not all that one, baby.
That's an answer, big time.
I think that's one of the best shots that Brian Himmler has thrown today. And you heard him say it. I caught all that one, baby. That ball reaction was absolutely perfect. Watch this. It looks like it's going to squirt right, but because of the tremendous hand that he had at the bottom of the swing, that ball rolled up and was high flush.
Foundation frame, chance to go up 22.
Wow.
Oh, shake him up again.
Caves in the bucket again, Dave Ryan. Right now, Brian Himmler is 2 strikes away in the 10th frame of winning this tournament. Or excuse me, 1 strike away. Watch this, cave the bucket in again. He did it in this first match.
He loves the paralyzing 5 going down late, doesn't he?
That was like the paralyzing bucket.
They all went down late. Can Mika answer?
Big hit. He's got to have that, too, because here's the deal. Mika can only shoot 215. Brian Himmler can strike out in the 10th frame for 237. Mika doesn't strike on this ball, it's over.
Some big shots late in his first semifinal win over Richie Allen. He's done it here today.
2 more strikes, Dave. That'll force Brian Himmler to go 9 spare strike to win by 1 pin.
Marshall Holman told us before he came to the booth with us how amazed he was to see that great job there by Mika. Be sure to visit www.pba.com for all the latest. PBA gear available, of course. Tickets to the Pro-Ams, all our PBA events. Mika needs it. the 7-10.
Well, now any kind of mark, Brian Himmler's going to win. Mika just lost his ball reaction this game and struggled to try to get the ball to the pocket. Right here almost leaves a pocket 7-10. Mika's like, come on, just a little help. Brian got some of that. Give me some love. Any kind of mark in the 10th frame, Brian Himmler is going to win his 4th Denny's PBA Tour title.
First since November 7, 2004. Got by Rick Steelsmith in the semifinals, 257-199. And Brian Voss in the final by 60 pins. Wow. Shots through the nose.
Needs a mark. He's got to pick it up. Remember I said any kind of mark, he's got to make this 3-6-10. Let me tell you something. This is not the spare you want to be shooting at to win a tournament.
He loves the pressure. That's what he told us. Here it is, Brian Himmler.
Get lucky.
Yes! Wow!
He gets it.
I'll tell you what, he had some breaks go his way, and you know what? That's what you need to win tournaments. He thought he chopped this. He said, get lucky.
I think I need to change my pants after that one.
Just needs one pin now to wrap it up. Keep it on the lane, and he is a Denny's PBA Tour champion once again. Yeah! Woo! His 4th career title.
Yeah, one more time. Thank you. Everybody at home, I love you guys.
Special shout out
Love you, Jules, Kylie.
to all the family. His wife, Julie, little baby girl, Kylie. He's won again.
Finally, I got a new watch.
It's a nice Rolex, Brian. He's a winner.
Thanks. But I'm glad that's over.
The Earl Anthony Medford Classic on ESPN is brought to you by the United States Bowling Congress, ensuring the integrity and protecting the future of the sport of bowling. Bowl with us. By Bear, the more you know, the more you trust Bear. By Ace, the official hardware store of the PBA. Ace, the helpful place. And by Jackson Hewitt Tax Service. This year, let the tax experts at Jackson Hewitt help you get the biggest refund you deserve. Home of Harry and David's, Medford, Oregon. Great specialty foods. You can order online. Rolex watch goes to Brian Himmler as he is the champion of the Earl Anthony Medford Classic. We pay tribute to the great Earl Anthony. And now Randy pays tribute to Brian Himmler.
Brian, congratulations, but I got to ask you, you only needed a mark in the 10th frame to win. What was going through your mind when you had to shoot the 3-6-10?
Well, when I got up and left the 3-6-10, I'm thinking, don't 2-10 on that lane again, and I just grabbed it. And fortunately, I have something makeable, but I almost blew it. But I was very lucky to make that spare, and they say all breaks are well earned, so I'm a believer in that.
So am I. How does it feel now knowing that you've already wrapped up an exemption for next season?
Oh, man, it's, the last 2 years I've been fortunate and won early in the year, and I didn't have to worry about that. So it'll kind of be the same way this year. Hopefully, after my win, I will have a better year than the last two, and you'll see me here again.
Brian, congratulations. Thanks a lot. Dave?
Congratulations to Brian Himmler, a winner again here on the Denny's PBA Tour. Next week, we're coming to you from Fountain Valley, California. Old School Bowling, Dick Weber Open, 1 o'clock Eastern Time. Now for the entire crew, my partner Randy Peterson, it's Dave Ryan saying so long. It's been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. We'll see you next week in Fountain Valley. We're going to SoCal. Brian Himmler wins today.